Hello and welcome to episode 200 of Science on Top. Today is Sunday, the 6th of September, 2015. I'm Ed Brown and joining me today is Dr. Shane Joseph.
Hey, hail?
Sorry, what?
Sorry, I messed up.
Did you just say hail?
I said hey all, and then I realised it sounded shit. Start again, will you? Oh, God.
I'm Ed Brown and I'm joined today by Dr. Shane Joseph.
G'day. Sorry.
I was wondering if maybe we weren't all of a sudden.
No, sorry, I just got distracted. Start it. Yeah, can you just cut that bit out?
Yes, it's all good. All fixed. Don't worry, I fixed it all in post.
Start again, sorry.
And pain specialist, Dr. Mick Vag.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Beautiful.
And that's so that beautiful. I've done this before.
Want to say it again without Ed talking over you this time?
Nah, because I can do miracles in post-production. I can't make Mick sound less like a $2 hooker who's been smoking all day, but I can I can do my best.
Wow. That was...
Well, he's very husky.
Fuck me.
Okay.
Right.
Hello and welcome to Science on Top. This is episode 181 and it's hilarious. Like we haven't started already. It's the funniest show we've ever done.
Sorry. I started giggling when I had a mouthful of whatever the hell this is that I'm drinking.
What the fuck hell?
Lorraine just made me a massive shake of wild berries and yogurt and stuff. Yeah.
Well, she's got all those frozen wild berries to get rid of. So
yeah, because she wants to use them on me because it doesn't matter if I get hepatitis. So.
Does anybody want Strasbourg, by the way?
The what city?
What? At works, they were giving away like shitloads of Don Strasbourg, and I picked up some, and I'm like, I'm not going to eat all this. This is ridiculous.
Why?
The meat.
How does that come about? I mean, what series of events results in them giving out?
I have no idea. All I know is it was on the table. And it was just free to take. I'm like, sweet, I'm taking some.
Someone won
Where
a meat
do you
tray.
work? What?
I work in a pathology lab, so it's probably not that. It was sealed and everything. I mean, I'm guessing that. Okay.
Guys, there's this bowl of meat that I found in the lab. Does anyone want this
it's barely
meat?
meat. It's manufactured meat. I mean, for fuck's sake, there's probably once it's been through its process, there's hardly any pig left in that thing. So
Seriously, man, you're not supposed to eat the tissue samples. It's not right.
Anyway, sorry.
Shall we try the podcast again?
Maybe try the intro from the beginning. Take it from the top.
Oh, God.
No, I'm not laughing.
No, but I am now. I can't stop.
Oh, God.
One of those nights.
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to Science on Top. This is episode 181, and today is Sunday, 22nd of March, 2015. My name's Ed Brown. What was that?
What?
Lorraine. Sorry, she's got the blender going again for another shake. Let me just close the door.
Yeah,
I thought all that.
I thought your office is not. Are you doing this in your kitchen, Lucas?
No, I'm in the bedroom. Sorry. Take it from the top. Take three.
This is the show that's never going to start.
It'll be an hour and a half long recording for a 20-minute episode. What's the sniffing hands after handshakes thing?
I didn't even bother with that. I saw 20% and I thought, bullshit, fuck off. Seriously.
20% what?
I think they said 20% of people do it. I'm like, okay, big whoops.
What? You won't believe you do it.
Maybe I misread that.
That was the baseline. Before handshaking, they would put their hand near their noses 22% of the time on average.
Yeah.
Then after shaking hands with someone of the same sex, they would sniff their hand or move their hand twice as much as before. If it was someone with the opposite sex, they smelled their non-shaking hand twice as much. It's the sort of thing that unless you've actually read the story and can talk about it, we shouldn't do it because we don't really know what we're talking about. But I do think it's interesting.
I don't.
I'm a bit worried. If I'd ever met someone and I'd shake their hands and then they sniffed it, I would like, you again.
It's not a direct sniff. It's like Nice to meet you.
You smell good.
Well, basically what they were looking at is because there are these sort of biomarkers that we transmit through sense. Women's tears transmit chemosensory signals. Their scent lowers testosterone levels and dampens arousal in men, which is why obviously crying is such a boner killer. And human sweat can transmit fear. So they were looking like, how do these things which are smell related work on such a short time frame and in large, open spaces sort of thing? It can't just be air currents and that. They suspected that it was shaking hands, which is what we do commonly when interacting with people. And from this, a sample of 153 people that they filmed secretly, it seems to suggest that there may be something there. They move their hands close to their face, that sort of stuff. So.
Sounds like you've read up a lot about it.
Not really. I have skim read it.
I'm in. I'm convinced.
Okay. That's good. I'm still not going to talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
But it's something that is sort of happening increasingly. Bless you, possibly.
Sorry.
They had a dog called Gypsy who was a very well-trained German Shepherd, and she used to pee on command. So
right.
You can get
Was command their other dog?
Oh God! Seriously, that was just too far. Of all the bad jokes that you could have gone to, that one was the worst that you could have possibly done.
Really?
No, he could have said...
That's the worst?
Yeah.
He could have said was command their daughter or something like that. They could have been...
Right, that's the worst that you did do then anyway. Terrible joke. Tell us about your dad and his ducks.
Do I have to? My dad woke up this morning and found a duck on the roof of the house opposite.
On the roof?
Yes, he didn't think that was a very tenable place for a duck to be. And so he's put the picture on the Facebook and gone, look at this poor duck. And then he's updated us through the day. Oh, it's okay. Oh, he's still there, just in case you didn't believe me. I'm like, no, Dad, it's pretty bizarre. I believe you. And then he's gone, oh, I'm standing by with the orange sauce, but he's come down now.
So has this duck got a huge following now on Twitter? Is it like a Save Ferris?
I don't know. I don't think my dad knows to craft social media enough for that.
Right. Well, yeah.
But I think he just was, and this, to quote my father, he was perplexed by the expression of the duck, who looked like, what the fuck am I doing up here? And I was a bit like, how does the duck have a what the fuck am I doing up here expression? But he does, so I'll give him that.
I've definitely seen a duck in Germany. There were these ducks that were around this lake near where I was staying, and there was this duck that definitely had this I will cut you sort of look. I'm telling you, it did.
Gangster ducks.
Gangster duck.
Most ducks have that look if you come near them. They're like, just get the fuck away from me now. Yeah.
This particular team decided to have a look and see whether they could actually prove that there was any oxytocin. Oxytocin? That's the Sean Connery version.
Sean Connery and
oxytocin involved in this process.
Shane, do we want to talk about methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus? Did I get it right?
No.
What did I get wrong?
Aureus. What the hell is aureus?
Aureus. That's the southern lights of the bacteria. Just the northern... Anyway. I did it all from memory, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, 480 kilometres off the coast of Oregon lies an underwater volcano called Axial Seamount. Shit. Fuck that up. Shane, it's time to talk flesh-eating fungus, isn't it?
Yeah. Asphophyia. No.
Flesh-eating fungus.
No, I'm trying to say the fucking name. Apophosomyces. There we go. I said it.
See, well done.
But actually, one of the things I thought I took away from one of the articles, there was a good piece in the conversation about the fluoride issue, and there was a little quote here that I really like, which was from Professor Attia, who said that it was irresponsible for the paper's reviewers to not have asked the authors to tone down their conclusions. And that was kind of something that I really held on to, because I thought, it's really interesting now, especially in the era of, open publication.
Open access.
Open access journals, and a lot of very dodgy journals, and a lot of research that can get out there and is then, and especially in the minds of the public and media, and how research is publicised, without, it's one thing to say peer review, it's another thing to say good peer review. And
but even if you tone down the conclusions, I mean, you can publish your paper, but it's the press release and the abstract, because a lot of people will just Google abstracts. Mm-hmm. So it actually, and I've actually read papers in my own field where the abstract conclusion is not supported by the data that they've actually said, and so even though they've written the paper reasonably, but then in the abstract they've actually said things that grossly exaggerate the paper.
If you ever want to see evidence of that, there's a company called Altmetric which measures the social impact, so the Twitter, the Facebook, the news articles of journals and of individual articles, and I think they've looked at 3.5 million articles to date, and it's growing. The 311th most publicised, talked about article of these 3.5 million is the anti-vaccine paper by Brian Hooker, which was trying to show that MMR did in fact cause autism. The paper's been retracted, but this is, it was in a journal that had no impact factor. So it was a journal that had just started, had next to no peer review, couldn't pull up. It got retracted not because it was the conclusions, it was because the statistics were completely wrong. It was like trying to compare, instead of a green apple versus a red apple, it was trying to use the same stat test to look at the waveforms of waves crashing on the surf coast. It was just completely the wrong data analysis, and so that was why it got retracted. But in the meantime, it got more media than every other paper that has been, 3.5 million papers didn't get as much media as this. So it actually got more media than the Andrew Wakefield paper.
If I have one more anti-vaxxer tweet me on the hashtag CDC whistleblower hashtag, I'm going to scream.
I have my own version of that tag, but I'm not going to say it on this show.
It's not a whistle. Is it a story?
It's a story, but it's very much, they haven't confirmed it with Koch's postulates, which obviously they can't do. But,
They haven't confirmed it with what?
Koch's postulates.
Have you ever heard of Koch's postulates?
I try and wash my Koch's postulates off as much as I can.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, doctor, I've got a severe case of Koch's postulates.
Oh, fuck's sake. It was, what was his name? Something Koch. He was like, he was... You shut up. He was a famous microbiologist. His postulates are basically how you prove that something is infectious. There's a certain series of things you've got to do to prove something is infectious, and it is the infectious agent.
Okay.
Right.
Look it up. It's KOCH, not...
Right.
No, I believe
that's Coke.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. How are we going for time? We've got time for one more. Do we want lasers on ravens? Or do we want
lasers on ravens?
MRSA?
It sounds
ravens
like
with freaking laser beams.
I'm guessing lasers on ravens would be much more interesting. So you go with that.
Lasers on ravens sounds like it could be sung, like it could have been at one of the stories in one of the songs in
Frozen.
No. I was thinking more of oh crap! What's the name of that damn movie?
We don't know.
The Hills Are Alive. That one.
Oh, Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The very next sentence after the Hills Are Alive.
That's the one. Sound of Music.
With the sound.
All I had to do was think that through.
You did. Anyway.
What I find just particularly disturbing about the fluoride issue is it's one of those ones that it's like, we've known the health benefits for a long time. It's been used effectively for a long time. And now through interest groups, through politicking, through scaremongering, we're looking to overturn public health interventions that have been incredibly effective. And, I know someone was going to mention it, but I think I think it's a good time to mention now the fact that, what's come out of the media is that the NH and MRC are on the back of fundamentally flawed research now, conducting an investigation into the safety of this, which is, I think, a gross misuse.
It's an abuse of the NHS.
Yeah,
they spent $800,000 pointing out that what we already know, which is that homeopathy is rubbish and implausible and doesn't work. They've done at least 2, I think, reports on so-called wind turbine syndrome. Now we've got one on fluoridation. It'll be vaccines and autism next.
Yeah.
So I think the figure I've seen, I'm not sure if it's just for one study or combined, it's $2.5 million. So that's the NHMRC. They fund science research. So $2.5 million, to give you an idea, would fund 5 fairly large grants looking into things such as multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, sleep disorders for 3 years. So that would also be probably pay for a postdoctoral scientist, which the government has invested, tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in training. So you're looking at 5 people would actually get 3 years out of work, a couple of papers that would make steps towards actually increasing our knowledge rather than just producing a document that publicises what's already well known and well described. And this is the thing. It's like, if you want to do it for the science, it doesn't make sense. If you want to do it for the economics, it doesn't make sense. There is no real reason for the NHMRC to be
What if you
doing
want to do it for the politics?
Yeah. For the politics.
Well, again, that's not a great way to use the NHMRC.
No.
To give you an idea, we published a review article of all the data on a particular syndrome. So there was nearly 80 papers, I think. We wrote that in the space of a week. If you give me $500,000, I can probably come up with the fluoride one by the end of March. So I don't understand what it is. You're not going to be doing experiments. You're just going to be looking at the literature that's out there. It's fairly conclusive. There is wide ranges of literature. You'll certainly see variations, but the amount of money that's spent. How do you spend $800,000 on analysing the stuff about homeopathy? I can give you 5 reviews, including some by homeopaths, that actually outline it. So it's really disturbing that the money that the NHMRC's budget is going down, so more and more scientists are losing their jobs. Grants have gone from being 25% successful a couple of years ago to 14% last year. So it's not going to change this year, and you're actually going to see a wholesale leaving of science from research in Australia, either overseas or to other industries. And that's, to be very clear, that I have a bias. This is the situation that I've found myself in, so I've actually left research as a result of the lack of funding that's available through the NHMRC.
Mm-hmm. Who influences the decisions as to what they fund?
Around grants, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with grants is that it's very, I mean, it can be a political exercise around something that's particularly popular. It can be, I mean, in fact, there was a really interesting paper, and Dave, you might know the details better than I do, but there was a really interesting paper that came out around the last grants round, which showed that the number of hours, spent by researchers applying for grants, which was time and this is not paid time, this is time that is done in their own time. It equates to several centuries of unpaid work for grants that never get funded.
It's 550 years of researchers' time, so it tends to be the top research. So you're looking at professor level people spend 550 work years each year applying for grants with a 14% success rate. That's obviously, just looking at productivity is not the best way to actually be running this.
Yeah. And the grants that will get up will not necessarily be the ones that are actually doing the research that is most likely to come out with the most useful results, the most meaningful results, the most worthwhile research. It can be down to other factors. And I've got several scientist friends who I've watched just, fall out of research work because they just can't get funded.
We should talk to the science minister about this.
Good call.
He's too busy with women's issues at the moment.
That's not a euphemism.
No, I did not mean that. Okay. Tell you what, we'll do methane and Uranus first.
Seriously, probably read that.
Shane, are you going to snicker every time I say methane in Uranus?
Yes, I am going to snicker every time you say methane in Uranus. I'll mute myself when you do.
Yeah, I learned after, given that my PhD was basically about methane on Uranus, I learned not to laugh about it.
So you say Uranus.
I do, yeah.
I suppose you'd have to, wouldn't you, Helen? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you just spend all your time giggling and you don't get anything.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, the main reason we got you on the show today was to say Uranus.
Well, I'm just going to say Uranus.
It's a nice change from wobble, really. I mean,
so,
does Uranus wobble?
It may do, yes. Still say it.
Yeah, I must admit, I say Uranus now after years of listening to the astronomy cast. It's just become the way I think of that planet.
I think because Patrick Moore used to say that. I remember my mum pointing it out really early on. And she was like, oh, he says it instead of Uranus. And actually, Uranus is nearly as bad. I was like, yeah, good point.
All right, well, we'll go with Uranus for today then, since that's what you're comfortable with. I code switch a lot. I'll be talking, and at the start of the paragraph, I'll say Uranus, and then I'll finish with Uranus, or the other way around. I just am inconsistent.
So you're sort of an equal opportunity host, which is great.
Well, neither of them is incorrect. They're both accepted as okay. So
rescue dogs that go and find people lost in the wilderness, and Timmy stuck down a well, and all that sort of good stuff. I know, poor Timmy. Always getting into trouble.
Yeah, it's because of nasty Tabitha. Anyway, just leave passions alone.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on.
This is a cultural reference I do not understand.
Google.
Okay, I will. You know I will.
It's clearly bad because it sounds like a chemical.
It does. But it's got an acronym, so it's not so scary.
Right.
It's okay.
Well, BPA has an acronym.
Yeah, you make a point. That's true. Don't get me started on BPA. What were you thinking? So it was thought... Thanks, Dave.
I'm reading a book at the moment where the dinosaurs did, in fact, have a space program.
Where they're all astronomers and stuff.
Yes. Have you read it? Yeah.
No,
cool.
my Andy did. He explained it to me, and I was a bit like, yeah, that sounds weird.
It is kind of weird, but it's really cool.
How do they operate the telescopes with their tiny little arms?
Tiny little arms. Well, basically, there were the dinosaurs that were left on Earth were like their version of our apes. Just because they evolved doesn't mean that all of them evolved. Mm-hmm. So, they evolved and they left. And then the storyline is, sorry, this is a massive tangent, but it's really cool. Storyline is that a ship has left Earth to go and try and colonize this other world that's been found that's a long, long, long way away, technically speaking. And they've actually, on the way there, they've caught up to this other ship, which has been built around a star. It's basically like... Picture sort of like a Dyson sphere, but only one half of it. So it's more like a Dyson dish that's gravitationally bound to the star, and they're using the star as to propel this thing. And it's just really, really cool. It's a really cool story. Anyway.
Well, let me know when it's out. Let me know when it's out in the cinemas, and I'll watch it.
Or audiobook, so you can listen to it.
Sean, the Russian Federal Space Agency, or Roscosmos, has announced...
Sorry. I don't even know why I found that funny. Is it the Russian Space Agency or Roscosmos? I'm like, what?
That's what it's called. It's Roscosmos.
Okay, sorry. Starting
That's their way of saying NASA.
It's the Roscosmos.
But don't say it like that because I will laugh.
The Russian Federal Space Agency, or Roscosmos, has announced it will no longer support the International Space Station.
Very strong implications on, the process of planetary formation. How did the Earth actually form? About which we still know so little. Sorry, there's a phone ringing here.
Is that yours? Ours?
No, someone's? It's not mine.
It's not mine.
It's not mine. Good.
It's a mystery phone.
No. What I mean is, it is where I am, but I'm not.
It's just not your phone. Okay.
I think it was the aliens calling. We got your message. Your show's a shit.
Is somebody talking about me? I had something really important that I was going to say then. I think it's good that we've now found something that we didn't know about the Earth so that geologists don't have to retire My hilarious joke at the time, but a phone call ruined it. Anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, that's an area where we've still got so much more to learn.
Oh my God.
Those aliens really want to talk, Lucas.
I think they want you to shut up about the core.
Ixnay on the
orc.
It's the directors of the core. They're like, we heard what you said.
And we're really, really sad.
We're really sorry.
Oh, no, that's a nice idea. So by the time I get back on the internet where I can possibly...
Damn fine.
where I could possibly... Sorry.
She taught you, or she was a lecturer or something for you, wasn't she?
Yeah. I was lucky enough in my 4th year of undergraduate. We had sort of guest lecturers, like guests on the podcast for a course, and it was called like Frontiers of Planetary Science. And she actually came and gave us 2 and brought some bits of meteorite that she brought. She was working at the Natural History Museum at the time. It was just before she moved to the Open University, and I've met her a few times as well because. At the Royal Institution, she's an ex-Christmas lecturer, so she's.
Aren't you one of those?
Hangs around there a bit. No, I was a Christmas lecturer's assistant.
Oh, I
see. It's still my dream to give the Christmas lectures. That's my scientific dream. You've happened upon that.
I remembered something about you doing Christmas lectures, and
I was Mark Miodovnik's
awesome
assistant in there. So and much hilarity ensued on that. But that's, do you want me to
stop name dropping and go on with the story?
All right. I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious about the Christmas lectures. Do you have to build up to it by going through other like the Easter lectures?
You do the Easter lecture,
and
I can talk forever about them. But no, it was the best temporary Christmas job I've ever had. I was employed for 5 months, and
that's a
I had
long
to run
Christmas
around and
job.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I started in October, and the build up is there. There's a sort of a guy who works full time. He has the best job in the world. He's the demonstration technician at the Royal Institution, and
he makes things go boom.
I know, seriously. And if he wasn't his name's Andy Marmary, and if he wasn't so brilliant at it, I would kill him for his job. He is utterly brilliant at it, and he's just an inspiration. So but then you get a Christmas lecturer's assistant. Usually they take someone who's a PhD student or a postdoc who knows something about the science. And then they go on and do strange things like I did and run around the UK looking for fleas. And what else did I do? Oh, I spent a lot of time making giant jelly balloons and then throwing them off buildings.
We should very quickly, I guess, since we've gone on this tangent, we might as well keep on going. Explain, because we have a lot of US listeners who aren't familiar with Christmas lectures.
The
and
Christmas
Australians.
Lectures.
The
Royal Institution Christmas Lectures are a UK institution. Most British scientists, I would say, would be inspired by them. The Royal Institution's an old science institution, gosh, I'm repeating myself now, that's based in London and has put these lectures on for children between Christmas and New Year. And they're shown on the BBC. They've been done for hundreds of years. Michael Faraday sort of was part of setting them up. Yeah, exactly. And basically any big famous scientist you can think of, Dawkins has given them, Attenborough has given them, Carl Sagan gave them, very, very few non-British people have given them.
So they're a bit like the Feynman lectures, I guess, but with lots of different people giving them.
Yeah, the Feynman... I've not heard of the Feynman lectures. Oh gosh. I only heard of his actual 6 easy pieces and things like that. But yeah, no, and they're a big spectacular and they're great fun. And I suppose I'm the reason I went to do geology and volcanoes, at least at the start of my undergraduate, was because I watched them aged 11, and it was a gentleman talking about volcanoes. And Monica Grady, getting right back to the subject, made them in 2003, and she was utterly brilliant. And she had this giant... she had lots of really cool props, but the coolest one was this giant model of Jupiter, which was a cosmic vacuum. The idea was that it went around and vacuumed up all the detritus in the solar system. Mm-hmm. And they still have it, this massive model, and it still shakes a bit from where they they could attach an industrial vacuum cleaner to it, and it's still got stuff in it. I borrowed it once for a protest while I was working there, and took it down to Whitehall. Yeah, there was. It was at the time the UK were going through lots of talk about science funding, and some people got together. It was a bit like the Discoveries Need Dollars in Australia. Yeah. It was called Science is Vital in the UK, and we all went to Whitehall, and we were told to take something that represented our science. So I was working at the RI at the time, and there's this massive model of Jupiter. So I thought, oh well.
We've covered. There was a proposal. Yeah, there was a proposal for that flight to be potentially an elderly couple. Do you remember that we did on Science on Top?
That was it Tito, the first space tourist and multimillionaire? I think he's proposing to send old people to Mars. It sounds wrong when you put it like that.
Not all the old people, just one couple. I don't know if you're talking about the same thing. There was a story that we did a while ago that proposed that if there was to be a flyby mission to Mars that would test all the launch systems and all that sort of thing, and the long-term exposure to space, then it might make sense to send an elderly couple, because an elderly couple would already be used to each other's annoying traits, so that being confined with each other for that period of time might not be as big an issue, and they're also far less likely to later on go on to have children, which, of course, is a consideration when you're sending people on a mission that can potentially expose them to harmful space radiation for a long period of time.
Yeah, it was a private foundation that was suggesting the pensioner. It's a non-NASA proposal, and that was looking for January 2018 launch. But, millionaire Dennis Tito, who's the head of that. Like I said, the first space tourist, I think, went up to the Mir station, it must have been. But
oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Mir. Yeah, I remember being at I can't remember which observatory it was. It was many, many years ago. I was at an observatory, and it was a very charismatic guy that was presenting to us on this night. It might have been at Coonabarabran or whatever that, I can't remember how you say that.
Coonabarabran, that's right.
That's it, yeah. So I think it might have been there, and it was the time when Mir was still up there, and he said, Mir, what was it? Crashing to a desert near you. so yeah, good old Mir.
And there's fibre optic cables in our national broadband. Right. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, that one that's not happening. Well, at least to our node. Sorry, international listeners, we're talking about the once wonderful, but in reality not so wonderful national broadband network. So let's not get political.
Sorry.
So these erythropsidium organisms belong to that major group of single-celled eukaryotes, and I've got a funny feeling that there are a lot more of this kind of weird thing out there, just that no one's looked. I mean, they've done studies in the past in marine areas, and they've found we know that there's a whole lot of stuff in the bacterial kingdom that we can't grow, and the same extends to the eukaryotic kingdom as well. There's a heap of stuff there that we haven't seen because we can't grow it. So they did the same.
How about now?
Nah, that's the same, I think. But
just as bad?
Yeah. We'll soldier on.
That's just as bad.
We can hear you, though. So it's...
I'm trying to think how I did this before. But I think this is... I'm using a headset.
You're good now.
You've actually got better in the last...
What did you just do? Don't move.
I just gargled some petrol.
Wow.
Still good?
Yeah, it's great.
I will sit here perfectly still.
This is one of those remedies. God, I'm looking forward to editing this.
But as you say, there's that element of it gets people talking. But why not get talking about the awesome things that are real? It actually are new things. Speaking of which, I watched what was that stupid movie that Matthew McConaughey was in with the black holes and that?
Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar. I watched that on the plane on the way back from Darwin. oh my God, I just didn't know what I was in for. And it's like, and I was trying to explain to someone else the other day, it's like when you have some understanding of physics, it's like watching a movie where the humans are suddenly made of mud for no reason. Like, it's just not explained at all. They're just, all the people are made of mud. Why? Why did they do this? It makes no sense. Yeah. Why did they just change fundamental laws of physics? It didn't make the story any better. What the fuck?
I guess most people were annoyed by that because they pitched it as, hey, we've even had scientists involved in this. And
yes, there were scientists doing their science. And there was the black hole, the image of the black hole, that got all the press. But yeah, so anyway, I had a rant about this. The person next to me on the flight wasn't really interested, but anyway, fuck them.
Who was this person on the flight? Was it a random that you
random
decided
person
to rant at?
Just a random person.
Who decided to rant at about Interstellar?
Well, yeah.
I was following that random person's tweets about this arsehole next to them all the time.
Mate, shut the fuck up about bloody some movie on Interstellar.
Picked up by the I effing love science.
Yeah, don't you dare say the full title on this program.
Sorry.
I fucking love science, is I think what you were trying to say.
I was trying to be all polite for a moment.
It's all right. The show hasn't actually started, so you can swear all you like now and then censor yourself during the show.
Right.
Or just let me beep it. It's up to you.
Okay. Penis.
Thank you for your contribution, Lucas.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm here to help.
So hang on. Are you saying that you want to talk about the penis-sized story? Is that what you're telling me there, Lucas? Is that
there's a penis-sized story?
Of course there's a penis-sized story. There's always a penis story when I do it.
I think I'm the one person not qualified to talk about it.
Let's not go into what counts as qualifications here.
Because I would point out that I haven't seen many penises. I'm not saying you have. I'm not at all implying that. And let's go to a break.
Actually, maybe I am the best qualified. Be quiet about that one.
I think I'm probably the most qualified. But anyway, let's
I'm happy to not talk about the penises.
So have we started?
No, we most certainly have not.
They're quite big, lumbering animals, these cone toads. I mean, a lot bigger than you realise. They're massive. So,
and there's only so much you can do with a golf bat. A golf
club.
What's the golf club? That's the word I was looking for.
A golf bat. What's that sports ball that they play with the bat thing?
Oh, God. Hate it when I can't remember a word. And I realise halfway through the sentence that I don't know what the word I'm going to finish on is.
I've got no trampoline. Help. I don't know where the sentence is going to land.
It reminds me of George Carlin, though. You can prick your finger, but don't finger your prick. Anyway.
See, that's actually funny.
I never actually heard that one.
I'm probably going to edit it out because I don't think it's quite appropriate, but still.
But there are some two-way words, those double-meaning words. Remember the ones you giggled at in 6th grade? And the cock crowed 3 times.
Say the cock crowed 3 times. Hey, it's in the Bible.
There are some two-way words, like it's okay for Kurt Gowdy to say, Roberto Clemente has 2 balls on him. But he can't say, I think he hurt his balls on that play, Tony, don't you? He's holding them. He must have hurt them, by God. And the other two-way word that goes with that one is prick. It's okay if it happens to your finger. Yes, you can prick your finger, but don't finger your prick. No.
Yeah, grant money's a gravy train, obviously. Seriously.
And like a science career is a gravy train, let's face it. I mean, you go into science, you're going to be driving gold Mercedes.
As a scientist, I snorted the coke off the backside of hookers. I mean, geez, it was amazing. Why did I leave that life behind? God.
You do know this is being recorded.
You can cut that out. That's fine. But honestly, it is utterly ridiculous.
The other interesting one is Venus, which has extreme seasons for an entirely different reason.
Is that just because that's a really slow rotation because of the greenhouse effect?
Yeah, it rotates the wrong way, and it rotates really, really freaking slowly. It takes.
God, how judgmental are you? How do we know that the right way is the other way?
Well, it's the way that everyone else goes.
Maybe Venus just wants to do its own thing. God.
And the leftover momentum from the formation of the solar system. So it all just seemed rather a good idea to go that way. But Venus is like, nah.
It goes, I'm fabulous. I'm going to rotate my way.
I think that is exactly why Venus is doing it.
Yeah.
Not that we're anthropomorphizing planets or anything.
In fact, I think if Venus could speak, it'd be like, fuck you all, I'm the hell planet and I will rotate any goddamn way I wish.
I am the...
Is a woman. Let's not forget this.
Yeah. That's true. Of course she's going the wrong way.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, but you set that up.
I would get in my car and come around and slap each other.
Thoroughly deserved.
I'm going to get in my car and drive to Melbourne and slap you anyway.
You've given him too much warning, Helen. You should, because now he knows you're coming. It'll take you at least, 12 hours?
12 hours, then I'm there. Ding-dong.
Thoroughly deserved too. I apologize.
Yeah, just like that. Sorry. Yeah, I think there's... Are there fireworks or something, babe? Oh, for fuck... Are you fucking serious?
What?
Oh, there are apparently fireworks because every single thing in this goddamn city that requires some sort of celebration requires people letting off stupid things in the fucking air. So my dog is going crazy. Excuse my language, but I'm getting sick of this.
Why fireworks? Labor Day? Really? Needs fireworks?
For Moomba.
Moomba, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pseudo-proto festival. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, starting again, Ed.
That's right.
So locally, there's quite a few different ways that we can do this. One of the gold standards for measuring local distances when there's lateral movement is parallax, which is just simple geometry. It's a very, very accurate way of measuring distance or measuring movement between one point or another. And we just so happen to be on a planet that moves, which is quite useful. So
most planets
you can shoot. You can measure the angle between us, the sun, and a star at one time of the year, and then 6 months later measure the angle again, and it will be different because we will have moved around our star. So the Earth will have actually moved quite a long way. So that change in angle gives you all that you really need to measure
to draw a triangle.
To draw a triangle. And once you can do that, and you've got the measurements there between us, where we were, where we are now, and the sun relative to those things, you can then work out the distance for that final part of the triangle. So parallax is great, but when you extend the distances much, much further, so you go beyond our galaxy into other galaxies, then because that side of the triangle is really, really big, the fractional change on our part of the triangle is minute, and therefore you don't really get that parallax effect. Excuse me. So parallax doesn't work when you go outside of our galaxy, or not particularly well unless you're dealing with multiple galaxies outside ours. So they look for other ways of doing it. Now, again, within our galaxy, there's quite a few things that we can use. We can use these things called Cepheid variables, which are types of stars that have got a change in their luminosity over a known period of time. So they're quite handy because you can spot Cepheids by the cycle that they go through. You go, that one's changing in luminosity with this cycle, therefore it's a Cepheid variable, therefore it should have this maximum and minimum luminosity. And if you can measure the maximum, measure the minimum, you can then say, okay, well, if it's dropped by this much over this period of time, it has to be that far away. Again, the thing with Cepheids here are that they're only so bright. So they don't, for example, like a supernova, outshine a galaxy.
for a period of time. So they can only be used to really measure quite close, in terms of galaxies that are nearby. There's other things. There's RR Lyra variables, which are basically red giants that are used, and they've got their own variable pattern as well. Again, they're quite useful for nearby things, our own galaxy, nearby globular clusters, things like that. Mm-hmm. But going out beyond into much further away, again, because they're not bright enough, you can't use them. Which again brings us back to the Type 1a supernova.
All right, Joe, your work at the moment is involved with the treatment of... What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Although Marcos just left and slammed the door really loudly, so the whole house shook.
It was a door creaking and slamming.
Jesus, Marcos, what are you doing?
He was expressing his thoughts of the latest research. He's not really on board with it.
I think we might leave it there, unless anyone had anything else I wanted to say or cover.
Yeah, do you want to say anything? You being shy? Do you want to say hi, Ed?
Hi. Oh, hello.
Speak a bit louder. Hello. She's whispering. I've told her to shut up, so she's not speaking.
Some scholars believe it may have originated as a gesture of peace, demonstrating that the hand holds no weapon, although fans of House of Cards will know that's not always the case.
In Gaffney, we had our own brand of diplomacy. Shake with your right hand, but hold a rock in your left.
I love House of Cards.
I thought that was my computer playing something. I was like, oh, shit, what am I? I've got a side open. Wait a minute. No, this makes sense. What?
That's got to be the first time we've actually experienced the sound effect during the show. Normally they're in, like, you put them in post, don't you? That's awesome. I feel like we're in the 21st century.
Next time Warner said, because now you've got to delete all this shit.
That's all right. No, I wanted to see if that would actually work, because this is a new software that I'm using to record it and all that. So
it seemed to work.
I was thinking your Kevin Spacey impression is awesome.
Oh, dude, I can do the best South Carolina accent as long as I say only those words and there's a door slamming at the start. That's fine. Putting science on top of the agenda. Join us then. It's so nice to do a show without my internet crapping up halfway through.
Dude, I so thought you were about to say without Shane for a second. That's just nasty.
It goes without... No! Dr. Mick Vag, thanks for joining us once again. And... That is exactly how he sounds. Actually, tonight, that is exactly how he did sound. Oh, God. So, thank you very much for joining me again, Shane and Lucas.
All right. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Shane.
And links to all the stories. Sorry?
I just thought I'd thank Shane for something he did. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not, Thank you, Lucas.
Both your contributions were much appreciated.
I thank wine and whiskey.
Together? That's a terrible mix.
No, I'll put the whiskey line up afterwards. This whole grape grain bullshit is bullshit. It's what I said bullshit. Doesn't actually exist. Shut up.
I don't know what just happened.
Neither do I.